the Think Loud Crew podcast. Today we are two moms with a special guest getting real about parenthood, relationships, and the WTF moments of our daily lives. However, we're scratching all that today, and we're here to learn and hear about Zaina's egg freezing journey. Welcome, Zaina.
I froze my eggs. Thank you for having me, y'all.
Zay.
Hi.
You're crazy. Not only did you freeze your eggs, but you froze your eggs for your birthday.
It was my birthday gift to myself for my 33rd birthday. I was like, you know
special.
what? We're about to do this. I've been talking about it for the past 3 or 4 years. At first, it was kind of like a joke, and then it became reality. And I went to my OB at the top of the yearly exam, ladies.
Yes.
Make sure you stay on top of that.
Yes.
And she told me that there was actually a fertility clinic having a sale. Not a sale, but like a special on egg freezing. So I was like, hold up, there's a discount.
Not a discount.
Discount.
To be thinking about that for 4 years
Yeah.
is also kind of wild to me because I feel like that's very young.
It wasn't a rash decision.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I think I've always known that I would possibly want to do it because ultimately I want to be married first before I have kids. That hasn't happened yet. So as I've gotten older and having these talks with my OB, I realized that it's something I should seriously consider.
Yeah.
And leading up to it, I knew nothing about my fertility. That's a scary thing to think about because that's not something we're getting checked on a regular. We talk about pap smears, we talk about just getting like your yearly exam, but like how many people are like, oh, let me go check my fertility. So a part of this like experience was in my initial intake consultation, I had to pay a deposit. It was about $350 just for that. And that's where they like check to see if I was fertile or not.
In order to do the egg freezing.
Yes. So even
you
with
have
the
to have
special
eggs to freeze.
you do have to have eggs to freeze. And even with that special that they had, it was like a discounted package. We would still have to go through that process to see if we were able to go through like the whole egg freezing.
Yeah.
So not everyone is a candidate for egg freezing.
Not everyone is. And even if you are, there are different levels. Like some people may require like more medication or longer periods of treatment. And so in that initial exam, like I was so nervous and I decided to document the whole thing because when I was looking for information out there, I didn't see a lot. Like I was on TikTok and there were some people just making light of it, like, oh, my makeup station's turning into like egg freezing. But I wanted like real information. So
that's why you want to document it.
To like give the real. And every woman's experience is completely different. Like my experience could be different from yours and everyone else's. But it was just like really interesting to just go through the process, and I'm here to share it with y'all.
So how much did it cost with the discount?
With the discount in total, don't quote me cent for cent, but I think it was around $6,000.
Insurance doesn't cover anything, right?
Let me tell y'all about this. So I called.
Wait, that was their promotional price?
Yes.
I
think it was around $5,900. And then there was like a storage fee because after you retrieve your eggs, you have to store them in the freezer.
That's crazy that's a whole nother cost.
Yeah, you can't take them home with you. You have to like, has to be stored somewhere else.
Yeah.
And there's a yearly fee for that. But with the package that I paid for, it was 3 years. And if you decide to transfer it somewhere else, you have to pay like a transfer fee. So I'm just going to keep them there.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But, wait, what was your question?
We were talking about the cost.
Insurance.
Oh,
yes.
Insurance not covering anything.
So I actually called my insurance to see if they covered it, and they did, according to my first call, right?
Okay.
So then after I go through like the consultation, they do an ultrasound to see like, hey, how many follicles do you have? Based on the amount of follicles you have, determine like how many eggs you can produce.
Okay.
Doctor said, hey, you're a good candidate. And I was like, what? Okay, let's do it. So then I had to talk to a financial lady, and she came in and told me my insurance did not cover it. And I was like, hold up.
How did we get from the insurance covering it to not covering it? Do we know?
So the thing is, they only cover it if it's an emergency.
Oh, if you didn't have eggs.
Like a medical
emergency. So what I didn't know is that, like, let's say...
So you were too fertile.
No, it's
No.
not. No. So let's say that, God forbid, I was going through chemotherapy or I had cancer. So any type of treatment like that directly impact your
eggs.
Your eggs and your fertility.
So let's take them out.
So, or like, yeah, a lot of women freeze their eggs and then unfortunately later on find out they have cancer and they, you know, it impacts their fertility and reproductive system.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the only way they'll be able to cover it if it was deemed like a medical emergency. And I was like, hold up.
Aging
I'm
does
getting
not
older,
count.
like aging,
No,
you know,
sorry.
fertility declines. Like, how is this not a medical emergency?
But you were prepared. You went in there with like your information.
Oh,
You
I did.
really did your research.
I did.
I just think it's crazy that insurance doesn't cover fertility stuff. Last few months ago, like a while back, now I'm going to say beginning of the year now, Zach and I went to a fertility clinic really to get information. It was around the same time you were freezing your eggs.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? I think it was. And I really wanted to go to, Zaina kind of put it in my head of like, you know, we're getting older. If you do want to have more kids, like these are things you need to be checking. And I got in my head of like, damn, am I fertile anymore or not? And like, I have 2 kids, so I was fertile at one point. But the older you get, the more it goes away. So I went and saw a fertility doctor, and I didn't realize, this is me once again being like naive to everything pregnancy related until like I get older, and then even though I have 2 kids, I still feel like I'm learning more and more how expensive just to get the thing stuck up your coochie cat and just tell you, oh, you have eggs or not. You walk out, it's like $700. I'm like, for what?
So
For
expensive.
what? For what? Like,
and that's
so
why
expensive.
I wanted to talk about that part, because I feel like it's something that should be covered. Like, especially with fertility and reproductive health, that is preventative too.
It is
and that's kind of what I thought about. Like, I definitely want to have kids one day. I want to be married one day. I want all of that to happen first. So, you know, I turned 33 and I was just like, let me take this like first step in my reproductive health to at least, the very least, like just have eggs frozen if I decide to go that route. Because during my consultation, my doctor said that, hey, by the way, like even though you're going through this process, when you're ready to have kids, like you can still try naturally.
Yeah, it doesn't take it away from that.
You might not even use these.
You might not.
Travis,
even
can
use
you
them.
turn the air on? It's so hot in here.
Got you.
Do you know what
you.
the price was without the promotion? Because
Oh, yeah.
I have friends who've done it, and their quotes were between like $15,000 and $20,000.
Yes. I think normal. I think it's between like 10 to 15 to 20. It just depends. So that's the other thing too, where state by state, like some people get like it covered partially through insurance. Like it's all a case by case basis. But I even feel like that's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Especially for like a lot of women who are, you know, career focused, career driven, like they may want to prioritize that before like family planning. And I just feel like it should be more accessible to everyone.
I'm happy you brought up the words family planning, because I think family planning, like preventative care, are things that should be considered more, and especially after like having kids out of not being married, like being a single parent. I'm like, I wish family planning was taught more in ways where it was like supported, not like it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to actually go through the process. Like,
exactly.
So,
no, 100%.
It's a lot.
But the whole process, y'all, I was not prepared for it. Like, I didn't know how much it would take, like, emotionally, too. And so the fertility clinic I went to, they were amazing. And with the whole process, so I went, got the consultation. They're like, okay, you're a good candidate. And then from there, I started my medication. So I had to do up to like 3 injections for 10 days. And it was in my lower abdomen area. Funny story.
Oh my God.
So I don't know why I was delusional and I thought I would be able to do my own injections. Mind you, when I get my blood drawn, I have to look away. Like needles and I don't get along. So I have Shy and our other best friend Remy on FaceTime for probably an hour.
Yeah, and I think I was in the car with Zach. He was driving, and he's like, just do it, Zaina. Just do it.
Zach was a part of this, too.
He started screaming at you towards the end. He was getting so frustrated.
They were giving me countdowns, and I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3.
And I don't know. One thing I thought about is, why did you think that you had to like stab yourself?
I don't know.
Like, I remember the first few times I was like, yeah, I'm like, wait,
you can be gentle.
Yeah, you can be gentle. Jane is like jabbing herself. I was like, oh my God.
At one point, I did get one in, and the needle broke.
Yes.
What?
And she filmed all of this, by the way.
Yeah, I have footage.
Did you numb the area at all?
So here's the other thing I wish I knew, that you can numb the area with ice. I found that out, like, literally towards, like, the very end. But, yeah, after that, I ended up just getting, like, help from, like, friends and family, which was amazing. And the other thing I didn't know was that I couldn't work out. Y'all know I love to work out.
Ah.
So the one thing, a piece of advice I have for anyone that's going through the process is just give yourself that time and patience. Like, you're not going to go back to regular routine. You will feel very sluggish. You're putting hormones in your body. Basically, for those of y'all who don't know, like, the whole process is that you're injecting yourselves with hormones so to stimulate, like, your ovaries to produce multiple eggs. Like, your body produces eggs, like, over time. But with this, it's like an accelerated path so that you have, like, multiple eggs to extract. So with that process, like, I was extremely fatigued. I got, like, some hormonal acne. I was just always tired.
You were super bloated.
I was so bloated. And my doctor, another thing is that, like, every couple of days I would go in, they would take my blood to check my hormone level and dictate how much, like, medication I should do. Mm-hmm. And also do an ultrasound to see, like, how the eggs were producing. And
that's crazy.
I know. I felt like I was pregnant.
Was there an option
Yeah.
to have, like, a doctor, like, to go into the office to do the injections? Or is it like, here's your kit, we'll see you in 2 weeks?
They
or
gave
we'll
me
see
a
you when we
box
check you?
and was like, this is it. But I should have asked, actually. But the thing is, I had to do it between 6 and 10. I had to choose a time.
Okay.
So I feel like the offices would have been closed.
Yeah.
Got it, yeah.
One thing I wanted to add when we were talking about the financial cost of it and insurance, there are companies now, I know Skims, if you are on benefits with Skims, they cover your egg freezing.
Like, if you work for the company?
Like, if you work for the company.
Wow.
And doesn't Netflix? I think that Netflix does also. If you work for the company, they'll pay for your...
That's great that there are companies out there who cover it.
Yeah.
Because not all of them do.
Not all of them do, but when I did my initial meeting with the doctor to figure out, what we wanted to do, and we kind of went in with 3 options of, like, okay, we want another kid, we'll just try naturally.
Yeah.
Or we want to wait for a few years and then have another kid, but I'm about to be 32. She was saying, like, 35 is that age where, like, your fertility really starts to, like, go away. And not go away, but, like, your eggs, like, it changes.
Yeah.
But she said that she was like, right now, the past few years, I've seen more and more people come in between the ages of 28 and, like, 34, where she's like, back a while ago, I never saw anybody this young, but now with corporate jobs, and with people wanting, like, different things as far as, like, if you want to travel for 3 years and then find your mate or whatever, or, like, if you work a really high intense job, or she said a lot of students that are aiming to be doctors or in the medical field that are going to be in their books for, the next 8 years. Like, I'm getting the younger people coming in to freeze their eggs because they already know. And with stress and what we've been putting in our bodies. So, like, all these things are, like, working against us to be able to, like, procreate. So I just thought that it was cool to know, okay, there are some companies that do cover it. But,
And that's the other thing, too, that I didn't realize attached to this whole process was just getting my fertility checked.
Yeah.
Even if I had thought about this 10 years ago, I think having the peace of mind of where you are with your fertility will help you make that decision. So I've had some people reach out to me like, hey, like, would you do it again? Or, like, do you think I should? And I'm like, I would say just go
and check.
Just check. It's a quick ultrasound. Your doctor will be able to tell you what's going on. And I think that could help you make that decision a little bit better than just like, oh my God, I'm getting older. Like, I mean, I have kids. Like, don't put that pressure on yourself to feel like, okay, the moment you hit 35, fertility declines. Everyone, it naturally happens, but that's not everyone's story, and you can still have kids.
Right. There's plenty of women that are in their 40s having 40s. Kids.
There's a lot of women who are having their children like later on in life, just after their career. Like,
don't let fear dictate your decision. Do it because it's something that you feel like you want to do.
Yeah.
Would be like my biggest piece of advice.
Yeah.
So I remember there was a company, Modern Fertility, and we did a test, and it's like they could check they do like at-home tests for your fertility, your ovulation, and pregnancy testing. So I remember I did their fertility test, and just let me know I was fertile. I don't remember exactly what I did, but like I kind of want to go back and do a little bit more research.
I feel like that's the one you spit in the little tube, and then you like shake it and you mail it back.
You mail it back, but I don't know if it goes as, it's obviously not going to be as detailed, but like just as a ease your mind kind of check your fertility. Because I know I have friends like in our early 20s who were like out wild, and they were like, I don't know how I haven't had a baby. Like, and they thought they weren't able to have children. And like now when I'm in retrospect, I'm like, you should get your fertility checked. Like that is something that should happen.
There's so many ways of like getting your fertility checked, because there's the way that I think Zaina is talking about of checking your eggs, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a vaginal ultrasound that they do.
They check your follicles,
They check your follicles, they check your eggs. But even if you have eggs, there's a whole nother side of
healthy
eggs. Like making sure that your tubes work. So if you have eggs, your eggs and all the sperm, everything still has to travel somewhere. So if your tubes don't work, and when I say that, they mean they're blocked, then like that's a whole nother level of getting your fertility checked. So I agree with you, because there's just so many things that are happening inside our bodies that I just think that we don't always know.
Right. And it's just better. Like, I've always been that friend to come up with random tests to take.
Yeah, she'll do. She does like the food stuff. All of a sudden, she's allergic to like 10 things. I'm like, girl, we just ate that last week. I'm like, you just ate that the other day. What are you talking about?
But she's like, but now I know why I was bloated after we ate.
I'm just always that person. So any like new test, I'm like, okay, I'll just try it. But going back to just the health of your eggs too. So a part of the process as well. Is that I had to do a genetic screening that I didn't know about. And they basically take your blood to see, like, what's in your genes, so that if you have a partner one day, you can also check to see what's in their genes in case, like, something. Okay, for example, TMI, but I carry the sickle cell trait. So if my partner has the sickle cell trait, our kid could potentially have the disease. So that's something I've just known since birth. But if I didn't know that, and it was just really interesting, because I think it's optional, but I was like, oh, that's cool that they do that, so they just know everything.
So do they test your eggs?
So that was, you mean like separately from that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the procedure itself, just to get there to that point, takes about 20 minutes. You get put under anesthesia, and then you just like wake up, and from there, they're able to retrieve all the eggs that they can, and then they evaluate to see like what the healthy eggs are that's viable to be frozen.
How do they retrieve these eggs?
Okay, so I was asleep for it.
You're like, I don't really know.
But no, I think they take something and stick it up there, and then like
they're like fishing them out.
Suck it out.
They just suck the eggs out. So with that process, it's like a whole nother level of anxiety of like, okay, did you get enough eggs? Like, what was viable, what was not? And it's pretty sensitive to kind of like talk about the amount, but I was very blessed with like the number that they retrieved, and even the ratio of what they retrieved versus like the viable ones to freeze was pretty good too. But that's how they test like the health of the eggs. It's like after the extraction.
When you say it's sensitive, is it sensitive to you, or do you think it's sensitive or triggering to other people listening?
I think just naturally we get into like this comparison thing, and I don't want to throw a number out there and someone feel like if they had something less or more. Like, to me, I don't mind sharing. So if anyone wants to know, you can ask me, but I would rather just like not put it out there.
Did you share it online? of how many eggs you got?
But if people asked me, I was like, okay,
This is the number.
Yeah, like I was fine sharing that. But I just don't. It's all like fertility and all.
Did you have people ask? Now I'm so curious.
I did.
Okay.
Did I tell you?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know how many eggs are in your little tube, but I guess I never realized that you didn't share it publicly of how many eggs were retrieved.
Yeah.
Maybe because I just knew the answer, so I didn't pay attention to that. But now hearing you say it and then wording it as sensitive information, I just had to clarify.
I think it's respectful because I went and rewatched all your videos last night, and I was like, she didn't share this or she didn't share. Like, there were certain things that you just did not necessarily say that were personal to you.
Yeah.
So I think that's really respectful because you did this as like an informative thing, not so much like look at me, like look at what I did. So from that standpoint, I like that you didn't share because then it could take away from the actual experience or the process or like.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
I
didn't
get
want
that it's
anyone to
sensitive.
feel like, okay, she got this amount of eggs, so I didn't
that
get
whole
this
compare and
amount.
contrast is a
And-
lot. Yeah.
But if anyone wants to know,
She's like,
Yeah,
just
reach out.
I
don't
do
mind
think
sharing.
that the fertility topic
Sensitive.
is definitely sensitive and triggering. Even like I've been tracking all like my cycles, my ovulation, stuff like that on an app called Flow, and
I use Flow.
they have like chat rooms and stuff, and I could tell that even based on what you just said, the comparison of things are so real. So someone could be in the chat room talking about, oh, I've been trying to get pregnant for 10 years versus someone else saying I've been trying to get pregnant for 6 months. And it's like the person who's saying 6 months is almost apologizing for even talking in the chat room because they're like, you know, compared to like some of the time lengths of other people, this is a very small amount of time. But in my world, this feels like a big amount of time. And it kind of made me sad of like, as women, we should be able to speak our truths and what our story is and not feel like bad about it. But I could tell, and even just reading random people's stuff on Flow of like the person who was like 10 years, like, no, it's okay. Like, it's still your story. And like 6 months can feel like 6 years to you. You know what I mean?
And I
like,
think that's key of everyone has their own journey, and just because someone's timeline was longer or shorter doesn't make it less than.
Yeah.
Like, they shouldn't feel less than.
Yeah.
And still be able to share their story and everything. But it is such a sensitive topic where it's like understandable if the comparison thing does come up sometimes.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So we did ask our listeners if they had any questions for you, and we do this thing called Speak Pipe. I don't know if we did Speak Pipe last time you were here.
No.
Okay, so basically what it is someone could just like click the little button, record their question.
Okay.
Travis, our beautiful man behind the glass,
I wish we had a camera on what we just did.
he has like gone through and picked out
Okay.
some good ones for you.
I actually have a question.
Oh.
I have one more question too.
Oh.
Okay, this is a question attached to a wild hypothetical.
I like it.
Yeah. Love it already.
So the question is, do frozen eggs degrade in quality over time?
That is a great question. Don't quote me because I'm not a doctor, but I believe they can be stored up until 10 plus years. And then, you know, I guess the quality of them could decline. Like if you have them in for 30 years, obviously, the quality could decline. But
Okay.
Yeah.
My hypothetical, which is kind of busted now, is that if these eggs never degraded in quality, imagine if the technology had existed, let's say like in ancient times, and somebody was able to have Cleopatra's baby.
do you know how much that would go for?
Right.
Like,
Well, Zaina,
Why
think,
is that
think
where
about
your head went?
no, but that's like crazy.
Oh my
Zaina,
Lord.
what if you were like, okay, this is how my kids and grandkids are going to have, like, be provided for, is that
Wow.
I'm going to auction my eggs long after I'm gone, and they will sell my eggs to somebody for, like, at that time, it'll be like $6 million. Right?
That's a crazy way
what?
to keep your legacy alive.
It
Right,
really is.
totally.
And
I
you
kinda
know
like
what?
it.
You
In
know
some
what, though?
weird dimension, I pray that Zaina, well, I want you to get a return on your investment.
Yeah.
But like in 10 years from now, Zaina's like, hey, I had a kid naturally. Like, you know,
eggs are so
auction
weird.
these eggs off. Like,
You can't sell
They're
your eggs,
expensive.
though.
you can't sell your eggs.
No, you
can't.
can.
But
Oh,
even
like,
with
what?
the procedure that I went through, I had to fill out a documentation of like, hey, would you want to donate these eggs in case something happens,
Like surrogacy
And
or
what
yeah,
did you
or like testing.
Did you say yes or no?
I know. I said no.
Yeah, I would say
Only because
no.
I'm just like, I don't.
there's
I
no
don't want to be
control.
walking on the street and then I see a kid that looks like Ryder or Ace, and then I'm like thinking, like, is that one of my eggs right there? Like, that's the part where I can't.
If I see a kid walk into a door and be like, that's my child.
Oh, your child is. We're gonna for sure know it's your child.
He's so clumsy. But my doctor also was like, do you want to be an egg donor? I was like, I don't know if I can do this process again.
So,
Ah.
so
Oh, like
Bree's
after.
sister Brittany on Teen Mom, she donated her eggs. She's talked about it before,
Yeah.
like publicly.
Huh.
Yeah, and I just remember thinking to myself, like, I personally could not do that just because of the idea of that's still like my child.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't feel. I don't know. I think I watched too much Lifetime.
Me too.
Oh wait, did you see the one movie? I just watched it
Which
and then it wasn't on Lifetime, but it gave me Lifetime vibes. But it was a documentary and it was about a lady who actually had a baby really young. She was like 14, gave the baby up for adoption because her parents forced her to. She really wanted to keep the baby. And then later on when the daughter turned 18, she like went looking for the child or whatever. Turns out that the adoptive parents were the father and the mother had like abused this child their whole life, sexually, everything. And then the dad ended up, he was a serial killer. He ended up killing the adoptive child and killing like multiple other people. You know, okay, I'm going to send it to you.
What in the world?
Yes, and the wife was like, that's still my man. Like, on the phone, like, why didn't you just tell me, Bill? And Bill was like,
Oh, no.
she's been in the backyard for 30 years. Like, crazy ass shit, okay? I swear I was watching that today. I was like, this is why I would never give anybody one of my kids.
Because you don't know what's going to happen.
You just don't know. And the mom, the biological mom, had so much guilt because she's like, I could feel it. Like, I felt like something was wrong the whole time, but I couldn't figure it out. It was
that
the
just breaks
craziest
my
thing to
heart.
watch ever. And what was
not need to hear
crazy
that story.
is for years, the mom was telling the police, because they had arrested the guy eventually, but he just wasn't saying where her daughter's body was. And the mom kept saying, I'm telling you, she's right there. Like, she knew where she was. And then years later, they found her, and she was right where the mom was saying the
And
whole
this
time.
was a movie and not based off of a true story.
No, this
that's
is a documentary.
Oh my God, this is even worse. Sorry, I missed that part.
It was a documentary.
I did not need to hear
Yes. It just made me feel like, oh my God, like,
that mom
that
sense
mom
lives.
sense was so
Yeah.
crazy to me. But just thinking about, like, if you were to donate your eggs, I just don't. How do you know that they're going into like
I
good
know.
hands?
I mean, it's
I don't know.
a tricky question, but I also feel like on the flip side that it's such a beautiful thing too when, you know, let's say there is a couple who just have
Like a
fertility-
genuine, yes,
yeah, like
yes.
it's just like two whole sides of
It
like what
is.
could possibly happen. But it's
I
so
know.
crazy.
I think that's the part. I think my brain naturally goes to like the disaster part of it, where there's a whole other side of like beautifulness,
Bringing life and
bringing
family.
life, and giving
Yeah.
somebody the chance to bring life into the world that can't do it.
Oh, you just gotta pray.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think
a
it would
lot.
mess with my head.
Travis, yeah, that was a crazy question. I'm also curious to know how much Cleopatra's eggs would be going
Hey,
for.
Think Loud crew, it's me. I'm so sad that I'm not able to make it
So mad at
today,
Shannon.
but I'm definitely there in spirit with you guys. I'm super excited for Zaina for coming on today to talk about her journey with her freezing her eggs. My question for you is, what is your biggest takeaway from the whole journey and experience? And also, what is something you wish somebody told you before going into it? I hope you guys have a beautiful day. I miss you, and I can't wait to hear the episode.
Thanks, Shannon.
That was such a nice voice.
I know,
Shannon.
right?
Yeah,
I
that was
loved
really
it.
good.
I would say my biggest takeaway from the experience was probably just make sure if you're going through this journey, even if you live alone, I live alone, you still rely on your community to show up for you in like different ways. Like, don't go through the process alone. Reach out to friends, family to help you with the injections, to be there during the emotional vulnerability. It's very emotional overall, especially with the hormones. Think about like your cycle times a million. So when it comes to all of that, just being able to rely on your community is so important, and to like give yourself grace and be patient that you're not going to be able to do the same things that you normally would. And you're doing a beautiful thing. It's going to be uncomfortable moments, but just stay positive in the fact that you're doing something for yourself that's going to benefit you in the long run. And I forgot the second part of the question.
What's something what you wish you knew?
Something I wish I knew is that I could numb the area.
Oh my God.
I had no idea that you could just take some ice and put it there and then it wouldn't hurt.
You didn't have to stab yourself.
And I didn't have to stab myself.
Yeah.
And I also don't close your eyes if you decide to give yourself injections.
Wait, when the needle broke, you don't get that injection, obviously. Does it mess up the process? Like, did you have to like get more? Did you not
I told the
that?
nurse, I was like, listen, I didn't get all the medication in, and I'm not doing it. And she told me like it's okay, because I would have to go in every couple of days to get everything like checked and monitored. And in my specific scenario, like I was producing a lot of eggs at a fast rate, so even towards the end, I didn't have to like use all my medication.
Okay.
Which another thing is that if you don't use all your medication, you can donate it back to the fertility clinic to give to someone else, because it is super expensive. And I had a friend that was going through egg freezing. I recommended her to my fertility clinic, and I was able to donate some of my extra medicine to her.
Oh, you can pick if you know someone who's doing it.
Yeah.
That's really
So
cool.
I had like extra medication where I'm like, I dropped it off specifically for her, but it could have gone to anyone.
Yeah.
So that's just something to keep in
That's
mind.
good. And then how long is the process?
The overall process, it depends on the person.
Okay.
My injections were for 10 days. And after that, y'all, they have something called a trigger shot, which is like the last push of medication to like mature the eggs. And
That shit
I
was.
thankfully did not
That
have
was
to
the
do
big
it.
needle one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How big was the needle? Because your hands
cried.
were just up like this big.
No,
No,
it was like,
a big ass needle.
How do you know where to put it?
that one had to be like your butt area
Yeah.
over
I just
here.
remember seeing that one.
I cried when they told me, but thankfully, like, I didn't have to do that one.
Okay.
But yeah, it takes, and then the procedure is like 20 minutes or so. And then it's recovery,
Yeah.
which, yeah.
I had someone ask me on my Snap when I was posting your stuff yesterday, and they were like, I think this is a dumb question, but, and I always, I opened it because I felt like that's something I would have said, like, is this a dumb question or not? And they said, does she still have eggs now? Thinking like,
Oh,
I
like
think
they
they
took
thought
all
that
her eggs.
they take all your eggs,
Oh,
but then I
no.
saw a few other people ask that, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe this is something that you could like explain, that
Yeah.
you still.
It's not a dumb question. I also had the same question. But we basically, as women, we produce eggs like every month.
Every
and we have
cycle.
our cycle. So with this, it's like just giving your ovaries like extra push to produce multiple eggs at one time so that the doctors can retrieve as many eggs as possible.
Got it.
And then freeze those. But then afterwards, like, you know, you still are able to produce more eggs. You are now freezing the eggs that you had at that specific age. So
You
my
just
33-year-old
Built
eggs,
a surplus.
yes, are now somewhere in the freezer.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
And that's why her doctor's saying that when you are ready to have a baby, you can still try naturally because she
Yeah.
still has eggs.
Exactly. Not a dumb question.
No, I didn't think it was dumb either, but I saw it a few times and I was like, okay, this is something we should say.
Yeah.
because-
That makes sense. What's next?
Hey, Think Loud crew. I'm a big fan. I'm just curious, did you vlog your journey to where we can watch it, Zaina?
I did. So I documented it on my Instagram. And I think I'm going to also do a longer version on YouTube because I realized it was just so much information. But on Instagram, you just want to get quick to the point. So you can check it out on my Instagram at ZayExclusive. And one day I'll have a YouTube and we can like have the longer version. And if you have like questions, like I kept encouraging people like DM me. I will gladly, we can hop on a phone call. Like I want to be able to share as much as I know. So if you have
Q&A
specific
action.
questions, like, let me know.
Would you ever do like a live, like going live on Instagram specifically with this topic?
Sure. I've never done a live on my Instagram.
Really?
No. But, I mean, if there's enough people that want to know and I'm
Yeah.
not by myself, like, hey.
I'm not by myself. I don't think
as
you
long
would be
as-
by yourself.
Maybe a Zoom, like set up a Zoom
Or a
chat,
Zoom,
like
you
come to
know.
my special Q&A.
Actually,
there's
I
one
don't
person.
think that it would. I don't think you would be
Q&A
by
with
yourself.
Zay.
I think that if you set up like, okay, I'm gonna go live Friday. You gave yourself the week for people to like,
Yeah.
put their post notifications on and say like, I'm going live Friday to talk specifically about my egg freezing. I think you would get a good amount of people on there.
Hey y'all, if you want to do a live Q&A with Zay, please drop a comment in. Just drop a comment down below.
And show
then-
up so I'm not by myself.
I'm gonna set it up.
Set it up, yes.
It's just la la la, me and the mic.
I mean, because I'm thinking if we do it on Zoom, you can record it, and then that could be like your YouTube video.
Yeah.
Versus
Because
just
the recovery was a whole different thing too. Where I'm still recovering. Like, I'm still dealing with like hormonal
Did you know
acne.
that going into it?
No, I didn't. I should have thought about it more, but I didn't. And I'm dealing with that. I gained weight from it, so I had to like, work out a lot. And another thing is that because you're like injecting yourself with hormones, there's something called OHSS, don't quote me on that you can, if your ovaries don't like shrink back to the normal size and it keeps like fluid in there, it could take longer to recover. So I had to do specific things like drink coconut water, have high protein meals in order for my body to heal after that.
Is there
faster.
any like scar tissue?
Oh my God. Yes.
I don't know why I'm touching myself.
No, because
like,
I
have scar
started.
tissue right
I
here.
had like water retention in my lower abdomen, exactly where I had the injections. And it wasn't until I started getting lymphatic drainage massages where I went to my masseuse and she's like, "Did you have surgery?" And I'm like, "No." She was like, because I see a lot of people who come in here with lipo and I just feel scar tissue. And I'm like, well, did I have surgery? And then we connected the dots of, oh my God, that's where my injections were. So she's been like working with me for the past couple of months to like break down that scar tissue because it's holding water retention. So that's another thing I wish I knew earlier, like get lymphatic massages, move the needles around.
Yeah.
So they don't cause scar tissue.
I go to the same lymphatic masseuse as Zaina, and the first time I went there, because Zaina referred me, she was like, yeah, so it's so crazy. I was doing Zaina, and like Zaina's really fit and in shape. I was like, yeah, I know. And she's like, yeah, I thought she was lying to me. I was like, about what? And she's like, like I get a lot of girls in here who do like lipo or have had like surgery, BBL, and I'm like, oh yeah, like me, like I've had lipo twice. And she's like, yeah, so you're really open. I thought Zaina was lying and was trying to tell me that she hasn't had lipo, but she definitely has like the scar tissue. I was like, Zaina didn't have lipo. I'm like thinking, like, did this bitch go
I
have
started
lipo
questioning
without me?
myself. Did I do it?
No,
What test did I do? With
I
my
was
sleep?
cracking up when she was trying to like insinuate still, like, do you know something I don't know? I'm like, no, I promise she
was
didn't
like,
do it.
Is there more to this story?
Is there more?
I was like,
But that's another thing. Get those lymphatic massages, ladies.
Yeah,
For
for
in
sure.
general.
Wait, I was gonna say with or without freezing your eggs, you need it.
or with or without lipo.
Yes, I haven't had either one, and I get them.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about Cleopatra's eggs
Me too.
at auction.
I just realized that Ryder does not have school the rest of the week. And I'm
Hi,
like,
so I want to know what exactly made you want to go through the process and want to freeze your eggs, and also what are the side effects of doing it, and how long was the process? I'm looking into possibly freezing my eggs. There's a few things I'm looking to want to do. But yeah, how long was the process, and most importantly, was there any side effects?
Okay, I discussed the reason why I wanted to do it. It was just like preventative. I want to have kids one day, just don't know when. And the overall process, I will say, from start to finish was about 15 days. I had 10 days of injections. in between those, I would have to go to the doctor, and like they checked my hormone levels, and they checked like to see how the eggs were developing. And then we set like the surgery day, and that was like 20 minutes. And then side effects was definitely, the hormonal acne, the weight gain, the bloating, the fatigue was there too. I developed scar tissue, I just talked about, in my lower abdomen from not moving the needles around. And just overall, just like it's very emotional, like going through that. So whatever you're going through in your personal life, it's like it will heighten in that too. So just be mindful of that. So, when you're considering it, even if you just go get a consultation just to check your fertility and see what the doctor suggests, I would say that would be like a great first step. And just make sure you rely on your community when you're going through it.
Do you feel like because it's now like 6-7 months later, do you feel like you emotionally or like hormonally have like balanced back out? Do you feel like you're kind of getting back to yourself?
I do. I will say I started feeling like myself maybe like through 2.5 weeks after. So I tried to jump back into working out, and I was like, whoa, we're going to have to slow down. So definitely listen to your body and don't try to rush anything. And if you can take off of work, try to do that for some of that time. But I'm still dealing with the hormonal acne. It keeps popping up. Like, what's going on?
But like the bloating.
Yeah, the bloating stopped maybe like a week to 2 weeks after. It was like kind of a slow roll to get back to normal. But now, like emotionally, I feel perfectly fine. It's just like
your hormones are still.
My hormones are still trying to figure it out. I did get my cycle. They said that it would be like a few days after the procedure. So I think my cycle is trying to get back to normal too.
Even 6 months later, it still hasn't.
It was regular, and then I was on like a meal plan that completely disrupted my hormones. So now that I'm back to normal with that, I think I'm still like getting there.
Okay.
I wonder if steaming would be good for you, just for your like cycle and help with the scar tissue and just helping rebalance your hormones.
Yeah.
So like I want to do an intake form with you later.
Oh my God, please! I want to steam.
Yeah.
You talking about vagina?
Yeah, vaginal steaming.
Sorry. Sorry, I didn't know. My bad.
Nah, I want to steam. You talking about vagina?
That was hilarious.
You talking about my vagina?
It's all connected. And it's like it helps with your hormones.
God,
I don't know
Zaina.
why when I thought
That is
steaming,
so funny.
You went to your face?
I was like, yeah, I love that baby.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought you were thinking, but I knew what she was talking
Vaginal
about.
steaming.
Oh
Oh my God, my friend.
sorry.
We're gonna get there.
I've thought about freezing my own eggs. Really just don't know where to start, but know that I eventually want kids. But my current life situation is not anywhere near having kids. Definitely don't know where to begin or where to start, and just want to know from other people their decisions as to wanting to do it, the process, how much it is. I just want to know the whole thing. Very interested, as I want to freeze my own.
Great questions. I would say first, just try and get a consultation at a fertility clinic that, do your research, look at the reviews. Like I was very, very selective with like where I went and wanted to make sure it was the right place. But I would say start there with just the initial consultation, and then talk to your doctor about what the right path for you would be. And it's definitely, I don't know, it's just something I feel like we should all just try to do like periodically, just check.
Did you, from the going back to the where to start, did you simply just like type in like fertility clinics near me, or like how did you find the clinic for you?
So it was actually through my OB when I did my annual exam, and she mentioned this place had like a special with discounted price on eggs.
She just happened to bring it up, like, or were you guys talking about it?
Well, we were talking about like freezing eggs for like the past couple of years. She's like, oh, actually, there is this fertility clinic, and they had multiple locations. So then that's when I did my due diligence to be like, all right, which location has like the best reviews? But if I didn't get that initial push from my OB, I don't think I would have like actually done it. I'm kind of a procrastinator in certain ways. So I feel like I probably would have like procrastinated a little bit more.
Because the
on
timing
it.
was.
But the timing was just like perfect. Especially like leading into my birthday, I was just like, I just feel like I should do it.
Yeah.
The fertility clinics that you guys went to, are they like standalone facilities? Or are they attached to like a hospital?
I believe they're attached to USC Keck Medicine.
Okay.
I think
So
mine
a
is
hospital.
a standalone.
Okay.
But there's like multiple
like a private
locations
So there's
in
different
practice, yeah.
different situations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would definitely just hit up Google.
Yeah, I would just Google fertility
Yeah.
clinics near me, but I would do
Reviews.
research on them.
Yeah.
I think reading the reviews is always the biggest thing, and just I think talking to your OB, because your OB would have recommendations, right?
Yeah.
Or special
to your
information
OB.
on promotions.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge.
It is.
Hi guys, a caller from Houston. My question to Zaina is, with freezing the eggs, do you plan on carrying the baby yourself when you find the right partner to do so? Or do you plan on having a surrogate, or do you plan on just leaving the option open for right now?
That is a great question. So I would love to carry my own child. I want to have 2 kids, boy and a girl, ideally. I know you didn't ask that. And my sister actually called me out for saying unnecessary information at all times.
This actually just triggered a question that I had. Wait,
Can you pick?
Can I pick what?
I was
Now that you have the eggs, can
Yeah.
you pick a boy and a girl?
So. If I were to go through like
the
I was
gender.
having-
You can see what the
I
gender
think so,
is.
and I think that would be an extra cost.
Yeah.
But I would love to carry my own child, God willing. But in everything in my life, I just left it open to whatever God's plan is. And if I, God willing, can carry my own kids, sure. If there's a surrogate, I could be like, hey, can you pop these eggs in you? And we can do it that way. Great. I'm honestly like really open. I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, God, just take the wheel. Like I'm on cruise control. You know, I know what my ideal situations is, but I try to detach from my like specific outcomes and just do my part and do what I can. So this is what I felt like I could do and can control. And now I'm just like, all right, the perfect partner comes in and the right situation, the right timing. Like, let's just see what happens.
Did your doctor give you a hypothetical timeline of like, okay, when you do meet your partner and then you're married, and then let's say you guys have been trying naturally to get pregnant for a year, then do you come back and see the fertility clinic? Like, did they give you a breakdown of time?
We didn't get specific into time, but in that like initial meeting where he just kind of told me like, hey, these eggs are, he literally said, this is when you're in your late 40s and you want to have like another kid. Like, come to me like then. This was after, you know, like my initial consultation where he assessed my fertility and everything. So I'm sure with whatever scenario, if I'm like, hey, actually, I just would rather do IVF, then we could have that discussion. Or if I'm like trying naturally, it's not really working, then we can maybe go there.
All right.
But yeah. What was your question?
Oh, it was back to the gender.
Oh.
Being able to pick the gender. So
I don't know. Picking the gender just...
I don't know if I would do that.
I don't think I would do that. I feel like that's playing like God.
Yeah, I don't know.
y'all went through this whole process. If you want to see if it's a boy or a girl,
I don't know.
at this
don't know.
point, I'm like, it's all science. Like,
Yeah.
why not?
The most I would do is probably have my partner do a genetic screening too, just
Yes.
to make sure.
Oh, definitely.
I
there's
think
no-
that's important.
like that's the only thing I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's really important.
What's next?
It's important to do before, not after.
Hey, Zay.
Hi.
So, what was your main reason for looking to freeze your eggs, and how long did the process take for you?
My main reason is that I want to have kids one day. I just don't know when. And I just feel like it's just something that I've always wanted to do just as a backup plan. And the whole process I answered was like around like 10 to 15 days in total.
Once you started the injections.
Yeah, once I started the injections.
I think you should become an advocate for family planning.
Family planning.
Family planning.
You want to consult me?
I'm
no expert.
But you're here for family planning.
I'm here to support. Like, let's talk about it.
I think that it's great.
Yeah. I'm actually happy you did this.
You've already paid for your eggs to be frozen for the 3 years.
Yeah.
After the 3-year mark, do you know how much it's gonna take? How much it costs?
I have to go back and look, but I believe I'm throwing out random numbers, so let me not just say it. I'll follow up later. I don't remember.
I'm just curious. I feel like this is not something that is cheap,
No.
especially if it's not covered through your insurance. And I already know, like,
I do think it was like maybe like $300 a year or something.
dang.
Wild. Yeah, because we both pay for our children, their
Umbilical cord blood.
Cell.
Yeah.
Where is that? In a freezer?
It's in a
It's
cord
a-
bank.
Yeah.
Cord
banking.
Mm-hmm.
So when our babies were born, they took the blood, and it's like you pay your upfront fee,
Yeah.
which was around like $1,600.
Mine was like around $2,300 for Ryder.
What do you keep it for?
So, have you ever seen that movie, My Sister's Keeper?
No.
Okay. Well, there's this movie called My Sister's Keeper, where their first child had cancer, and then they had a second child, basically to help the first child, because there's specific like blood that's in your umbilical cord. It's like golden medicine almost, and you can use that cord blood to like cure different things.
Like stem cells
Yeah.
and stuff.
So I didn't know anything about it, honestly, until I had Ryder. And then after I had Ryder, this lady came in and was like, she was basically like an advocate for it, and could explain, okay, if you want to bank your cord blood, this is how much it is, and this is what it does. And then like later on in life, this could help like you, this could help the dad, this could help more children, and it could potentially save lives. So at that time, you guys know I was 23, 24, and had zero money, and was like, lady, I am not about to pay $2,300 to bank some blood that I don't know anything about. But my dad, I guess, had already done his research, so he paid for it. And then I pay the yearly to keep it in there. So then I did do research after, because now I'm like, okay, what are they doing with it, and what are we paying for? And after doing all the research, I was really happy I did it, especially with Ryder having a genetic disease. Her doctor was like, basically like, keep paying for it, because you never know, like with new medicine and new things, like it might be able to like be used later to help Ryder. So then when I had Ace, I already went in knowing, okay, this is we're gonna keep it, and like this is what costs. And my dad was like, now that you got a man, I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying to bank it. You gotta pay for yourself. I was like, damn, you're not about to pay for him. He was like, no.
That is so funny.
But the banking, you can, there's like public banking and there's private banking. With the private banking, it doesn't cost, it's like $150 a year.
No, private banking is it's more. Public banking is cheaper. Other people can use it.
No, but I have the same company as yours.
Mine is private.
I know mine is private too, but my yearly is less than $300.
Yeah, my yearly is like $125.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Wait, if it's public,
if it's public, then like they can access it, like and do science experiments and what the fuck they're doing to it. If it's private, then that it costs more, so that it's private to you.
It's
like
your
no
blood.
Yeah.
Wow. The more you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All this banking. I'm curious to know if there's like with sperm banking, what those fees look like. Because it's such a difference with like.
Well, I know to get your sperm tested to see if you have like active sperm or not, that costs around like $280.
Oh. But it's it's so much easier.
The exact amount. I know the exact amount.
I know. It's so much easier for men.
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Like mentally, I think it would mess with them.
I don't think that it's easier for them to do it.
To do what part?
any of it. I think
like to get it tested?
Because think about it this way, like, okay, we now know you're fertile, we know you have eggs. Just hypothetical, not putting it out there, but let's say you do meet your husband and then you guys are trying the natural way and it's not working. You go to the doctor and the doctor's like, no, we've done her, everything is fine. It's the husband.
Yeah.
So mentally as a man, not being able to, his sperm's not sperming.
Yeah.
I
actually take that back. It's not easier.
I don't think it's
Like,
easier.
It's just more financially accessible.
What I meant easier.
No,
with,
because
like,
then it's not.
to store
Because
it.
if his sperm isn't valuable, then that's when you have to do like IVF. It's the same cost.
Interesting.
Okay.
Like it's gonna financially, you're gonna have to do the same thing.
Now I want to know, like, a man who's doesn't have sperm, or
If
their
he's
sperm
shooting
doesn't-
blanks, then
are there surgeries or hormones?
there's
or
hormones that
things?
you can do to try to like get your sperm to wake up and like swim the right direction and stuff. But if he's not producing sperm, then there's nothing to like wake up. So I think from a man's side, there's
perspective.
like
We should get a
that's-
man.
I know, yeah, but I
over
think there's
here.
like a whole other side to it where
It's not easy on
it's
anyone.
not easy on. But I know a couple who the woman's body was working properly or how it's supposed to, and the man's wasn't, and they ended up just adopting because he didn't have sperm. But I do know that there's levels to your sperm. It could be like at a 0% of working up to like 100%. So like if you're at a 50 or something, then there's like hormones that the man could
Zaina's like looking
take.
up stuff in her fertility.
I would.
What is going on?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you guys could see me.
Are you figuring out the cost?
Okay, yeah, but I actually looked it up. Of what I paid for a yearly cost.
Oh, how much
Sorry
is
for
it?
my eggs.
No, how much?
Y'all, I lied. So glad I looked it up. Okay, so it was a monthly option to store it or a yearly option to store it. The monthly option is $66.50.
Dang.
Rate is subject to change. That's the option I clicked.
That's expensive.
The yearly
Wait, a
rate.
month?
A month. The yearly rate is $798.
This
Wait,
is expensive.
The yearly costs more than the monthly.
Guys, how did I do what? Why
Wait, and you already paid for 3 years?
Yeah, I think that. So with the package that I paid for, it was $5,900, but I think I had to it included 1 year, so I think I paid for an additional 2 years.
Wow.
But I did the monthly.
I'm gonna need you to. You have 3 years because this shit's expensive.
I was like, wait, what?
And is it still that price after that 3 year, or were these rates based on the promotion?
It's a rate subject to change.
Dang, so in 3
parentheses.
years it might go up.
Yeah, I gotta go call them. Thanks for this reminder, y'all.
Yo, I'm just confused.
That's
though.
an expensive
Wait.
baking fee.
I know.
The monthly
$66.
is $792, but the yearly was $798. Like, why is the yearly?
Oh, because it's always like that, where if you pay in advance, and
yeah, it's usually
No, but
cheaper.
then the yearly would be cheaper.
The yearly was even more. This is a lot.
We're
I just
stressing
got
her
stressed.
out.
I'm sorry.
We're
This is
stressing
these
her
are,
out.
Oh, another thing. Sorry, because I'm looking at the document.
But this is good
is
information to
that
know.
The
like-
patient eligibility for this one in particular, you had to be 38 years or younger, and you had to at least have 10 follicles present during the baseline ultrasound.
Okay.
So they needed to make sure you at least had some follicles there. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's expensive.
wow.
I'm so glad we did this research today.
But it's interesting that they have
need to go call
a monthly versus yearly, because it's like if you do this and you're planning on saving up for within that, I don't know, 6 months to a year.
Because there is an option to transfer it too, but then I'm like, do I just call around? Sorry.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, the more you know.
Wow.
That's crazy.
We're learning on the spot. I'm so curious to know if there are just facilities that solely store eggs versus part of the whole process.
I would open one up.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking this question
Kidding.
for.
I would not.
We're opening up an egg bank.
Yes. Come store your eggs over here.
Family planning
They can be
advocate to
together.
egg banking.
Oh my
What
god.
if we all store our eggs together? That's like
I want to
bonding.
be in the same freezer as Zaina.
It's like bonding on
You guys
another
have been
level.
together since before birth
Oh my
in the
God,
truest
that's such a
form.
beautiful
Oh,
story.
hell no. Oh, my God.
wow.
All right, Zay.
Sorry.
As you know, every week we end our podcast with either a WTF or you could just share advice or share anything you want to share under the sun. Anything you want. Who wants to go first? I'm trying to think.
I forgot about this part. Sorry. It's been a while since I've been here.
I know, it has been. You have to come back more often.
know.
Everybody loves
They
you.
love you. They ask for you.
Everybody loves you. It's crazy.
This whole life
It's so crazy.
It's hilarious.
Okay, I guess I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm unprepared. But I did have my younger sister out here visiting me for a whole month.
Mm-hmm.
She just left yesterday. And when I tell y'all, she had me out in the streets.
Yes.
We did a lot. We went to Vegas, San Diego.
You've been to like 3 concerts.
We ended up at an Usher concert. Big Sean performed somewhere. Rick Ross.
Were you somewhere last night?
Yes. It wasn't last night. It was the night before.
The night before. It was
and
like...
randomly, like, Ty Dolla $ign, Mario was performing, Jeremiah. It was so random.
Oh, you were really out.
But we were, like, really out. But I just wanted to, like, put it out there that it's just so important to sometimes have, well, to always have balance. And I feel like for a long time, especially earlier this year, was really hard for me. And then, you know, went through a lot. Having my sister here and just being able to, like, let my hair down and just hang out with her and do all the fun things was so great. And I don't know where I was going with it, but we had a really good time.
I'm happy. I was really happy to watch from the sideline because I wasn't allowed to go out with Zaina.
I wouldn't be allowed to go out with me.
Yeah, you dug a hole the other day when we went to lunch with Zach. You really did. Yeah. Anyway, I wasn't allowed to go play with my friend, but
It was Hannah's fault.
I was really, really proud watching you from Snapchat in the sideline, and it looked like you finally have like had this moment of like freedom and just breathing and like doing what you want, drinking and eating what you want. The other
Y'all
day
know I
we
be in the gym.
Yes, we went to lunch today and Zayn got a burger. And
Wow, Zaina.
I was hungover.
she was hungover and I just was so proud of her as her friend. Like,
That's good.
this is my hungover friend eating a burger. If you follow Zayn on Snap, she's very structured and like always in the gym, always saying no to me when I ask her to like if she wants to go eat pasta and be fat with me. But I was really happy to see you indulge this past month.
So that just made me realize that I need more balance where
Yeah.
I can still do both.
Yeah.
And Hannah brought like her 25-year-old energy. And I'm like, all right, let's
Yeah.
do it.
You hung pretty well.
That is
Barely.
so funny.
Yeah, we went to lunch. This is my share. We went to lunch, and Zaina said, "Oh, we're gonna go to a concert tonight." I said, "Oh, I want to go," and then it got worse and worse because then Zach was like, "Oh, what's the information?" And then it was like, "Oh, well, it's this artist, but I don't know how I got invited there. I just got invited there, and then we're gonna ride in this Sprinter." And then as soon as he heard Sprinter, he was like, "Nope."
I know. It was
No,
my
wait.
neighbor.
It
Did
was
she
like-
invite you?
I invited myself.
Oh, okay. I was like, why
Yeah.
was Zach like in this?
No, I invited
That is
myself,
so
but then
funny.
once Zaina gave the details of the night, I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be able to go."
It was so random. It was my neighbor who invited us to an Ace Boogie concert. Ace Boogie. A Boogie.
Not Ace Boogie.
I was thinking about
Yes.
Ace looking at you.
Oh God!
Sorry.
But the neighbor had told her like, be ready to like just get in the Sprinter, and then like
There was a whole party bus.
the night will take us where it goes.
Yo!
And this is what Hannah and Zay were kind of explaining to Zach and I at lunch, and I just knew from
I
the
can imagine Cheyenne sitting
description,
there like,
Zach was like, "No, just no."
But you know, I knew not to invite my married friend.
Yeah. And then we have a group chat with the three of us, me, Zay, and Zach. Zayna started sending videos of the Sprinter. Was like, "This is a really cool Sprinter. We should take it somewhere one day." And Zach and I were in bed bed, and Zach goes, "Look at the fucking Sprinter. Look at the fucking lights. Look at the fucking fog."
But the crazy thing
Not
is,
the
I really
fog.
enjoy hanging out with you and Zach. So I'm like, we can go to the club together. We can hang out.
No, he said we can go, but not me and you can go with the Ace Boogie. I was cracking up on the way home. He was like, no, not happening.
It's like, you can't hang out with Zay anymore. I'm like, I be in the gym. It's Hannah's fault.
We blame Hannah.
That's wild.
I was
You
cracking up
have
the
been out,
other
like,
day.
you really have been doing a lot. Every now and then I'll see it on your Snap, and I'm like, dang, Zaina.
I'm sitting down now.
I'm like,
Nah, the balance. The
Balance is back.
The balance.
About to work out after this.
yeah.
All right, Kyle, what's yours?
Well, my life is not that exciting. I've just been momming, and I'm like 90% done with this certification class. So I've just been doing school every day. I haven't really been on Snap because I've just been in class all day. Yesterday, I snapped something, or like 2 days ago, and people were like, "We miss you. What's going on?" I've been like, "I don't think you guys want to sit in class with me."
I do.
Maybe.
Sorry.
Well, shit, you might be sitting in class with me today or tomorrow because it's a lot. But yeah, life has just been lifing. Zaire starts school on Thursday.
That's exciting.
I'm so happy. And then I also added 2 more days of soccer to me and Boss's schedule. So I'm just like digging my hole deeper. Single parent life sucks, but it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Oh my God. Ace goes to school
crazy.
now every day of the week. It's
Every
great.
day?
Yeah, he started off at 3 days and now he does every day.
Aww.
I did
Oh, you
his-
guys moved it to every day?
Yeah, we did every day because
good.
I was doing his school application for next year and I wanted him and Ryder to go to the same school together. And on the application, it's like they're basically telling you that they want children to come from a full-time program
That's good.
to be like adjusted to go to their program. So I had to put him in school every day, but
Does he like it now?
he loves it. But
Okay,
he
good.
still he does half day still. So then we have Isabel the second half of the day because
What time does he get out?
he goes to school from 8 to 12 and then he's with Isabel from 12 to 6. I'm like fighting to keep Isabel because
I
we're
want to keep her.
right.
Sorry for my future.
We're trying to have another baby, so it's like
Y'all are
I
trying
feel
to
like the
teeter
day,
the line.
yeah, I feel like the day where I'm like, we just can't do all the things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense to have her if Ace is in school, but I'm like, I need you. I feel like that's the day I'll find out, oh, I'm pregnant or something,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then
She'll be
she's
like,
like
"I just
already
signed
with
a
another family with
contract."
another contract, so I'm literally like, Isabel, what do you need from me to keep you around? Like, how do I keep
Because
you?
when he goes to writer school, it'll be like a full day, 9
Then
to
it's
3.
full day, 9 to 3. Well, really like 8 to 3. So, but that wouldn't be until next year. But I'm
Okay.
hoping that by then there's a baby.
There
So,
will be a baby.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then it makes sense. But right now it's just, we're just like not fighting to keep her because she's honestly not trying to go anywhere either.
She's not.
She loves
She's
Ace.
like, this is my-
But that's a lot of people are like, well, why do you still have a nanny if he's in school? And I'm like, because I don't want to switch.
No.
Yeah.
And
Isabel's great.
she's amazing with the kids. So that was my last week. And then I had to break it to Isabel that Ace was going to school every day. So
Oh, how did she
How
take
did
it?
how did she take it?
You know,
I feel
it's
like
really
that
rough.
was her WTF.
I know. Rough on her.
Aw.
she took it really well. She thinks that Ace, she knows that Ace likes it. So she took it well. But yeah, it's been a transition in our house. Yeah. It's great.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing and being honest. Thanks for being honest and open. That's what I was trying to say.
And like recording your journey in the first place, like actually sharing it.
No, I'm happy to.
Yeah.
And if anyone has other questions, hop on the live. That may or may not happen.
No.
If I do go live, promise to show up.
Where can they follow you,
Leave
Zay?
a comment.
At Zay Exclusive across all platforms.
So on Snap.
TikTok, I'm not really on there like that. But Instagram and Snapchat for sure.
All right. So you guys hit up Zaina if you have any additional questions. And if you want her to come back on the podcast, let us know what topic that you want her to cover next. Maybe fitness.
Yeah, I think your fitness journey has been really
Inspiring.
It's been a journey.
I'm going to go work out tomorrow. You can follow me at Shy Not Shy.
You can find me at Archylin.
And you can follow the podcast at Think Loud Crew on Instagram and on YouTube. Continue to like, comment, and share, and to help us continue to grow our podcast. We appreciate everybody always tuning in every Monday, and we hope you guys have a beautiful and blessed week. And don't forget to tell your crew about our crew.
And we missed you, Shannon. Have a good time at work.
Thank you.